So are you struggling with that sway move in your backswing that's contributing to a whole host of strike issues there at impact? If so, this video is for you. I'm going to share why that happens for most golfers, how you can analyze that yourself using feedback and video, and also show you some real life examples of some good and maybe not so good examples of that sway move. And at the end, stick around for a couple of drills that's really going to help you fix that sway for good. Guys, I'm Danny Malcolm. Thank you so much for joining me today. We're here at the fantastic Lights Out facility, 24/7 TrackMan studio here in Perth, Western Australia. Let's dive right in. So first, what is the sway move? Well, that's when a player sways their body, their lower half, too far away from the target in the backswing, which typically can contribute to some strike issues in that downswing at impact, fat and thin shots, and maybe some path issues as well. Now, some players can correct from there and get back quite nicely, so it's not necessarily a fault as such, but it's certainly something that we want to look at, and certainly a common characteristic that I see. So, guys, let's look at some ways that you can analyze that and then talk about some examples of the sway move. So, looking here, we've got a professional on the left-hand side and an academy member of mine here on the right. So if we just go on the left, how we analyze it, first of all, is we draw a line from the outside of the ankle on the trail ankle up to that top of the trail hip. So I do that for both players here. And then as we swing back, what we're looking for, ideally, some players have a little bit more of a shift to the right. This player doesn't, but some players have a little bit of a bump to the right initially. And that's fine, because that's putting force this way to get themselves moving and get themselves winding up quite nicely. Certainly for some drivers and things like that, you'll start to see that in a lot of players, and that can be a really, really good thing. But typically when we get to the top of the swing, we'd like to see that we stay somewhat inside that line. Now, some people have a slightly bigger gap here than others, but typically we might see players that sway with that hip outside. So we're showing an example here of an academy member in the backswing. So as we go back here, we'll see that hip start to sway. So that can obviously cause maybe some things with the spine as well, as we start to get that slight reverse spine angle. Now this has improved nicely for this player, and we're sort of getting there step by step. But this is an example of some earlier swings of that sway. And you know, for some, we can really struggle to get back from there. So we don't quite get where we want to be early in that downswing with this player. So that's why it's something we've certainly been looking at to help some of those ground contact issues. So guys, now that's an example. Now, why does that happen? Well, it can, one, just be a concept thing that players aren't quite aware of how they need to move that body to maybe stay a bit more centered, maybe help improve that strike. That's where a coach like myself would come in. But also it can be a physical thing. Most commonly, that trail side, whether it's your ankle or whether it's the hip, mobility, or whether it's that glute, the stability in the glutes, something going on through here that's making it harder for that player to maybe turn and rotate into that hip. Even stability on that lead side to hold that lead side as we turn. So certainly there's a physical aspect to that as well. So if we look, I'm going to show you my example as well, because I do have some real hip restrictions. But what you'll notice here is I'm kind of able to work around some of that with a couple of ideas. For example, that trail foot, I flare out a little bit here. Not crazy amounts, but just a little bit. I do get this little bump to the right. Again, my hip issues here, I need surgery on this hip, really struggle to turn into that. So having that foot flared out slightly helps. But some of the drills I'm going to share in a moment will also help you if you're struggling with this as well. So you can see I actually end up in a pretty good spot there at the top, despite my hip issues. So you can work around it still slightly. So that's something here we're going to share in just a second. So guys, that's the sway, typically why it happens, how to analyze for it, some examples there. Now, with regards to training that out of your golf swing, so the first drill I would like to offer is just a bit of a twisting drill. So no fancy term for it, just twisting with your feet together to start with. So generally, if we put our feet together and just get this idea of swinging and twisting around like this, you'll see naturally with the feet together, we're not going to sway, we're not rocking this way, we're not going to get that hip bumping across, just twisting in this fashion here, where you can see my hips are turning quite nicely. Then you can gradually widen your stance a little bit there, that same move, and you'll see I'm not swaying at all there. So So that's a nice one, just that little twist and turn rather than rocking side to side. That's something that I use, just that idea of just twisting. Now I'm not really turning into the hip again. My hip's really, really restricted there, so I'm not winding into that hip at all. I'm just kind of turning my hips together and my shoulders to reduce that little bit of a sway. So again, you can put that trail foot out slightly and that'll help as well. And also, like you see on my swing there, it's quite short because I'm working with my range. I can't turn all the way into that. My thoracic's quite limited too. So again, that's where you want to work within your limitations. If I went any further, I would probably sway, I'd probably do some of this because I can't physically get there otherwise. So that's the first one I would like to offer there, guys. A second drill that you can do to improve that sway, another feeling that I quite like as well, sometimes go to, is having this right pocket for the right hand or this trail pocket back. So from this view, for example, from behind, this can be a good camera view too, to be fair, but getting that idea of that right pocket working back behind you and almost going over where your tailbone was at address. So replacing your tailbone with your right pocket there. And you're almost creating this kind of golf ball gap between where you started and where you end up at the top of the backswing. So from this view, right pocket back, replaces your tailbone, and there's no sway there. Now, you can also take that a little step further and maybe go to the slight extreme of maybe thinking about your tailbone replacing your ankle. Same idea, just different ways to do it. So tailbone here, as I go back, I'm going to almost feel as though that tailbone goes over my lead ankle versus this way, going over my trail ankle. So that's a nice one as well. Again, different ways to do this, but just having a feel that works for you to reduce that sway. Now that's a couple of nice drills for it. Now for feedback, again, you can film yourself as we have shown here, or you can get either a chair, a golf bag, maybe got a golf bag on the stand, stick the driver head cover out here, maybe put an alignment rod in the ground if you can, if you're on grass, or use one of those little tools there that puts the stick in, and basically place that just outside your trail hip, and that's your feedback as well. So if you hit that, you know you're swaying. If you don't, you know you're not. So you want to create, generally if you're swaying, try and go the opposite and maybe create about a golf ball's width there, but anything that's staying inside of that is going to help you reduce that sway and therefore improve your likelihood of getting that low point forward, particularly with irons, that's for sure. So just a wonderful one there, guys. Now, so the main issue with the sway with regards to impact is your strike. So if you are swaying, typically we'll see fat or thin shots. So I've developed a free 5-minute test that you can take. Click the link in the description below, and that's going to see if that is a concern for you. If so, you'll also see some more in-depth drills there if you want to dive further into that training. So click the link in the description below for the test. Let me know how you go. If you have any comments on that video, please post them below. I'll respond to them personally, and I look forward to seeing you guys next time.